I've been a Spider-Man fan since I was young, since my youth, my prime, since now. I've always been a Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man has always reached out to me. It's always connected to me in many ways. I was so young, and he was just more of an inspiration of the things that I couldn't do and what I should do when I am able to do the things I have. The power, the responsibility. I wasn't all athletic. I really wasn't athletic. I wasn't the smartest. I was so lazy, inconsistent, and didn't know what was right or wrong, and I didn't have that many figures there. But Spider Man inspired me. Spider Man just influenced me. He kept me going. He kept me thrive. As you see, I'm still a diehard Spider Man fan. I'm 20. I am 20 years old, and I'm still a diehard Spider Man fan. I have look. I just want to show you all guys. Just I have little web shooters. Look. Then I have this. I have look. I bought Web of Shadows because I've never had Web of Shadows when I was younger. I bought this. This was on. I had to buy this 100. This was on sale for 115. I bought it. I bought it because I never had Web of Shadows, and I'm a die-hard Spider-Man fan, and I could not have missed out on this. I couldn't. A Spider-Man game where you can instantly transform to the black suit. I couldn't. I still buy the disc. I still buy discs digitally just to have a physical form of Spider-Man. I have some of my love interests gift me Spider-Man stuff. I have a Venom thing inspired by Spider-Man. I waited online when I was 14 years old for the pre-order line to get this disc, and I waited at 12 a.m. Got permission from my mother, go out there and thug it out in the code. There's a man. There's so much. There's so much, and this web thing is still in my face. I I gotta get back to the main video. The reason I am so distinctive to Spider-Man is because our brains have a distinctive way to remember sorts, which would be with a certain image, a word, or a memory set in your mind for it. As people do the same when hearing Spider-Man. Some may think of Ultimate Spider-Man from the Ultimate comic books. Some may think about Love Josh Keaton in Spectacular Spider-Man. And it doesn't just stop from animated or drawn illustrations. Some may think of the actors Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. This illustration for the character was also placed on myself for a duration of my life and my childhood. This is why I've been inspired. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man has set foot to inspire me for generations. Well, yeah, you can say generations, can I? Don't know how time works like that. But I was always an asthmatic kid, like I said, and I was non-athletic, so most of my attention was put towards video games, television, movies, where in all three of those formats of entertainment were Spider-Man. Spider-Man was always placed in that entertainment. Between the years 2001 and 2012, Tobey Maguire was the face of Spider-Man for a longitude of time. But why? How come this fictional character set to appeal to many children, but now even adults? Now, of course, I know Spider-Man was popular before Tobey Maguire's appearance as Spider-Man, but I'm just making the annotation on the impact and growth the movie had, inspiring many new fans as of myself and many others like you, to where we must think the mind behind the movie, Sam Raimi and his beautiful cast. The cast themselves has cinematically inspired the new audience to grasp Spider-Man's purpose from young to old adults, as I stated before. The characters in that world, the actions that they made, the emotions that were put in the movies, it did all the best and worst parts of him perfectly for us audiences to get into. And this video will be centered of him, of an analysis of the main character himself. Of course, I will be picking on the little characters, the villains, and whatnot, but honestly, the main focus is Toby Spider-Man, Peter Parker. What did we get from this main character? Now, I'm going to be flipping a script because I want to better my quality, so I'm going to make this a slideshow. Oh.
The first Spider-Man film in Sam Raimi's trilogy has a world that is not our own today. Of course, you can recognize that from how society is portrayed in the film, where a good example of this is the characters' interactions with the others, as we see this from the typical jock and nerd portrayal between Peter and his classmates, like Flash Thompson. The time this film was being made was back in the early 2000s, and back in the early 2000s, it's always the high schoolers that were looking like their mid 30s or the late 20s and damn near high school. but this was actually fitting for our character. In these films, Peter Parker has a distinctive awkwardness to his character due to always being stuck to what he knew best: science. The movie demonstrates Peter's social life many times before and after he obtains his new abilities. Example of this is from sitting alone during his lunchtime, or his only friend being Harry Osborn, or the bus driver purposely skipping his stop to make a fool of him. Now, there are more instances where Peter's social life is lacked for the audience to see, which we can pick up that list some other time. Honestly, as sad as this might be for a teenage boy to be having this type of social life and getting treated like this at a young age, it's fit perfectly, or it matches the writing amazingly well for his sudden change in tone after attaining his abilities from the spider bite. As Peter's self-confidence has risen with his newfound abilities, Peter now has the belief that everything can be different for himself and can be better. He will not have to be the laughing joke. He can now be the center of attention for people around him, or just Mary Jane. Peter had many different visions for himself in the beginning of his new abilities, so the only thing for Peter to do is set out to make these changes for himself, leading him to take on the wrestling match for money. For some context of that event, Uncle Ben insists on dropping off Peter, or to what Ben thought would be the library. Ben wanted to drop off Peter to check on him, as Ben and May were concerned about Peter's new attitude towards the world and the actions he was taking towards people. While dropping Peter off, Ben discussed towards Peter of the concerns he has, leading to the famous "with great power comes great responsibility" line. But during this moment, this sentence did not hold a single significant word towards Peter. So he had snapped at Uncle Ben, telling Ben he was not his father, nor should he act like it. See, my first reaction to watching that scene for many years, or even when I was just younger for the first time, I never understood Peter's outbursts. I didn't get why he was so displeased with Uncle Ben's concern. But now that I'm of age, and now that I have a little bit more experience with life and whatever knowledge, I'm not going to sound like some old hermit, but I see it. And I've been through it. Peter has been lost and shunned his whole life. Society was never the best towards him. But in Peter's mind, things could finally take the turn with his new abilities. And as I stated before, Peter could have the fame, the girl, and the money, and would not feel like an outcast anymore. This is what is going through his brain. He doesn't want to be what he was anymore. He has a chance to be something he's not. But once things got better for him, it still seemed like it wasn't enough for Peter, as others still mistreated him, as in Menjay still seeing Flash Thompson, and now Uncle Ben lecturing him as if he did something wrong for finally standing up for himself, even though us audiences know that's not what Uncle Ben was trying to interpret to Peter. Peter was having an identity crisis, which would be perfect build-up to the following situation, and this situation being Uncle Ben's demise, where his demise was only caused by a robber. And with this knowledge, Peter went to track and stop this person for good, knowing what he can do. The things that he can do now is nearly unstoppable. So we have a car chase scene that leads up to the robber being cornered into an abandoned building, where Peter goes to confront him.
As the robber had nowhere left to go, Peter took this opportunity to confront the robber, to where Peter realized the robber's true identity. It was the robber from the wrestling place. Peter could have prevented Ben's death if he wasn't too focused on his arrogance. He could have instead turned his abilities to a great power of responsibility and stopped the robber from their first interaction. During this realization, Peter was perplexed, leaving the robber to think that Peter is now vulnerable and could shoot him. But Peter snaps back into reality, and in doing so, he snaps the robber's hands from the weapon, only trying to disarm him. But unfortunately, this leads to the robber to stumble upon himself and fall out the window, leading to his own demise. Peter now witnesses the monster that he assumed Uncle Ben saw him as. But is that how Peter wants to remember Uncle Ben every day? No. Uncle Ben could live on. He can live on. His ideologies can live through Peter, or maybe something better, or someone better. This setup to become Spider-Man is astonishing, as even as a kid, I knew what Peter had to do, what he had to become, something bigger than himself. Just as an audience, this pushed me out of my seat. While watching this build up, it inspired me. Uncle Ben was right. Peter before was all over the place, trying to fit in and find himself with the new power he had gained. But that is not how Ben raised Peter. And that is not the person Peter is. That is something someone with so much malice and power would do. Turn it all to greed, like Norman Osborn. A fitting example of this reflection is Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, Mr. Drip the Foe. Fun fact though, quick fun fact while I have all of your attention. Green Goblin's suit in the first movie, he wore the green foam posits. And back in that time, foam posits was like the black air forces for their time. So that it was true menacing. It was real true menacing for Green Goblin to be having the foam posits. But back to the important matters. Norman is what Peter was looking to become, what he would have been if he attained powers he had for selfishness, for greed. Norman was a great scientist. He was a great business person. He was not someone you would bring to the same table as Ben Parker though. But that alone spoke volume of the morals Norman lacked, of the person he is not represented to be. We get examples of this even without Norman's alter ego, the Green Goblin. It's shown by how he treats Harry. It's shown by the absence of his wife. Because where is she? Did she die in that movie? I can't tell. Peter could have been just like Norman, and it would never have served the true purpose. Norman believed he deserved to take what he wanted. Things were given to him, or he had molded it to his own. This made Norman believe everything he'd done as a Green Goblin was justified. But it wasn't. Everything Norman worked hard for, everything he's done at the end, meant nothing. In that table, when they dismissed him from his own company, relieved him from his own company, everything meant nothing. That is what it is. That's what it all comes out to. But with Peter, it's bigger than that. Peter knows it can be bigger than that. And that's why Spider-Man was invented. In conclusions, Norman's actions made Peter believe in Uncle Ben's even more. That this great power should only be led with a great responsibility, no matter the sacrifices. And Spider-Man is needed, no matter the time, the place, and who has need to be stopped. But we aren't like Spider-Man. I mean, we can't climb walls. We can't do the things that he could do. We can't just take them grenades like he does, like nothing. We can't hold a train together. We can't. We can't keep going. Or some of us has already been stopped in a journey that we really wanted to be placed in. What can we do? What can Spider-Man do? What would he do? Those answers were given to us in Spider-Man 2, where Peter Parker is faced with more diversity between his identity as Spider-Man and being Peter. One example of this is during Peter's inability to keep his relationship with Harry in control, as Harry despises Spider-Man, blaming him for his father's demise. To make matters worse, his best friend captures pictures of Spider-Man for his career, causing a feud between the two. The second example of this is Peter's lack of appearance in MJ's life, as she distinctively does her best to appear in his. As MJ does this to demonstrate to Peter she could be there, and she could be there even more than just a friend. Unlike MJ, us audiences know distinctively well where Peter's time is being placed towards. The first half of the movie, we're shown the truth to this gift of being Spider-Man. It is a curse to be the one behind the mask because everything falls apart for Peter. We also get introduced to Otto Octavius, a brilliant mind just as Peter, and Otto reminds Peter that his brilliance is a notable gift as well, where it holds its own responsibilities. Otto reminds Peter of his gift due to his plummeting grades in Connor's class. He's abusing, or he's mistreating this gift. Us audiences now understand that Peter has two gifts, two amazing gifts. One is Peter Parker's brilliance. Two is the power. But those gifts do come with its own curse. Once Peter apprehends his gifts, he comes to terms with only needing one, leading Peter to giving up on being Spider-Man. As we all know of Peter's turn to fully engage in his brilliance in his social life. As you viewers get to see Peter's non-power sequences throughout the movie, so we can brush past on the burning building parts and whatnot. Where we'll be focusing on is Aunt May's speech to Peter on everyone needing a hero. The disappearance of Spider-Man has a city word of the future endeavors and Otto's current schemes. This even has Jonah admitting to the city that we need Spider-Man because Spider-Man was a hero. Spider-Man was more than up. Yep, Spider-Man took the suit back and Jonah regrets everything he said. Okay. So of course, Peter becomes Spider-Man again to save Mary Jane and to stop Otto. But why? How come Peter goes back to being Spider-Man if nothing promises to be different for Peter Parker? Why? That's because Spider-Man wouldn't be the only hero this whole movie. Spider-Man didn't save anyone. Okay, but like not literally but figuratively, guys. When Peter reprises his role as Spider-Man again, he does this not just as the identity as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker as well. We even get to see this as Peter saves Otto Octavius, not Spider-Man. Peter gets to save Mary Jane, not just Spider-Man. Both Spider-Man and Peter get to coexist side by side to each other. Now New York will be saved. Now the ones that Peter loved will be saved as well. Things will be different. Peter can live. Spider-Man can live. They both can live to be the heroes that they are today, the ones that inspired us now. Hey guys, so I'm sorry about the rush of the video today. This video was extremely rushed and thorough. It wasn't thorough. That's why the script will be a little bit janky and stuff. I did my utmost best to give you guys what I can for right now, and when I reprise everything will be fixed. Now, if you're staying around to say, oh, okay, I wonder why it was so rushed and whatnot, the reason why it was rushed is because during the time the script was being made, I had friends' birthday parties back to back, as in three, literally three. Two in the first week and one this week. So it was really a lot for me. And then I was getting my certificates so I can start being an after school. I'm an after school teacher now. So that's another thing that was really messing me up. In the middle of this, I want you to hear the anger in my voice. My microphone, my original microphone that I've been using for man long, has worn down. That's why the mic quality changes, and I'm gonna try my best to match it throughout the video. Do my best, guys. I am truly sorry, and hope I can still get you guys support, because I will be doing my utmost best for the future episodes or the future part two of this, which will be Andrew Garfield, and I will be finishing Spider-Man 3. But I will, like I said, I will definitely reprise this and rephrase this. I'm all over the place. I will definitely reform this video as soon as I can. But I wanted to give this out to you guys as an audience, so we can all connect. Look, I'm rambling on now, so all love to you, beautiful and handsome viewers. Wish me luck. It's really difficult and hard doing all this at once right now, so I'm gonna figure it out for us, because honestly, you guys inspired me a lot. That's why this video came out, even with the lag and it's nasty. Could have been better. I know. Okay, I'm gonna hear all the hate comments. Whatever. See you guys later.